What is going on, YouTube? This is the Just BSN podcast. We got episode 8 today. I'm joined here always with my boy Andrew. How are we feeling today?
Dude, I'm feeling so good after that win on Sunday. We
It
needed that
was
big time.
it was very good to get like a legit just like solid beat down because
Yeah.
obviously Arizona's not very good, and it was just nice to just handle a bad team the way you should. And the fact that we got a shutout in that. I mean, that's still impressive regardless because it's still the NFL. Like these are professional players, and the fact that you shut them out like that was a good team win. We needed that for sure.
Yeah, no, and I don't care what anybody says because I know everyone's team would be throwing a parade too if they beat the Cardinals as well.
Yeah.
It's because it's the NFL. Like, it doesn't matter how like their record looks. Like, yeah, they're 1-8 and whatnot, but like they're in the NFL. They're NFL players. They could still come out and win. They almost came back against Baltimore in the fourth quarter and almost beat them. So you can't count a team out just because of like 1-7. Like they could always come on a streak and win games and stuff like that too. It's the NFL. Anything's capable of happening. So it's a
Absolutely.
good win.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, for me, it's just when you look at a game like that, you say, "Hey, that should be a win." And
Yeah.
when you go in, you take care of business and you win the game convincingly, it helps because let's face it, the Browns have not always been that way. So I think that
Mhm.
is still important in itself, and I think it's been kind of undermined a little bit in that whole topic. But the Browns have always been a team that struggles even against bad teams. Like we make bad teams look good, and we even did that last year and the year before and the year before that. So it's good that we at least got a good win like that. We needed that, and now we move into a pretty big game. But before we get into that actual game, I do want to talk a little bit about Deshaun because obviously
Mhm.
this was his first game back. It was more of a I called it a warm up game because it was a easier matchup to throw him into. How do you think he looked? What did you like? What did you not like?
I thought he looked pretty good overall. Coming into the fact that yeah, he came off of a shoulder injury. He needed this warm up game to kind of get the feel for it back again, to get a game back into what he was back in Tennessee. He just needed a game to be comfortable and stuff like that before you go into Baltimore and Pittsburgh. And I think he handled the situation well. I mean, the first couple quarters, he was kind of struggling a little bit, and that obviously you're gonna see that with a guy who's been dealing with a shoulder injury on his throwing shoulder. Like he's gonna struggle a little
He,
bit.
oh yeah, he was jittery.
Yeah, and now you have him in the second half, and he just balled out, especially with those throws to like Amari Cooper, and I mean, yeah, the batted touchdown, which was absolutely wild, but
Yeah, man,
I
we'll take
mean,
it. We'll take it. Those
but it
bad
seemed
throws.
like it seemed like he was more comfortable in the pocket, and as he was taking like a couple of hits, he got more comfortable back to running the
Yes,
football again, which
yes.
using his legs, which I figured he would do quite a bit, but it seemed like he was kind of scared too because he didn't want to take a hit that would destroy his shoulder again, which I completely understand. But after you take a couple of hits, he's like, okay, his shoulder feels fine. Like I can run the ball now. I can throw it 40 yards downfield for a big gain. I, and it was funny because he was more accurate on the bigger throws than he was on the shorter throws,
Yeah.
which is kind of funny. But I mean, again, someone talked about it the other day, and they said like even when you're like more or less on those shorter throws, you might feel like that little click in your shoulder or whatever, and that ball could just slip out of your hand or like
Mhm.
it could just dive on you and whatnot. So like that's gonna happen to him on short throws, but when he throws a big ball, oh my god, they look so good. They look so perfect.
Oh yeah, and I think especially in that first quarter, I definitely said he looked a little, jittery, and he
Mhm.
definitely had some happy feet. He was definitely afraid to get hit, and
Yeah.
I said that early. If you guys do end up being on my Twitter, I usually post a little bit during the game as well as Drew, obviously.
Yeah.
But I was saying during that time, I was like, man, he really looks like he's genuinely afraid to get hit. And he did because anytime he started to scramble, and the one that comes to mind is the little dump off he had to forward, which was a good gain. Don't get me wrong, it worked. But most of the time, Watson usually takes that, and he decided to dump it because he was afraid to get hit. Once he took a few hits and was able to like, okay, like I'm good, like everything's fine.
Mhm.
Started feeling a little more comfortable and loose, and he was able to start setting his feet, which I think is what helped him on on those throws because
Mhm.
when he has sloppy feet, it's he definitely will miss a lot of throws, and whenever he stands tall and confident, he delivers. And that that last bomb that he had to Cooper there in the fourth, I mean, that was about as pretty of a ball I think as we've ever seen him throw so far. And that's really good to see. And I know that's got to be good for his, confidence. And so, for me, it was a good step in the right direction. Obviously, he's still got more work to do, but as a first game back, you can't really ask for more. And again, this comes now with Ravens are going to come in and they're going to be ready to go. They've been a very tough team, especially the last month or so. They've played outstanding ball. So, I think everybody understands what this game is going to be like, and I hope they're ready for it because I don't think we're going to have much more of a physical game like this since really the Pittsburgh game. So that's one more thing that I'm really going to look for is can we finally match that physicality and go through a little bit of adversity and be able to get through that because that's going to be a big thing too. But overall, I think Will Watson looked better as the game went on. He obviously had
Mhm.
some bad throws, but I think people were a little too harsh on him, and they have. And I get it. We pay him a lot of money to be good, so he better be good. But we also got to remember that like even since last year, he hasn't really had a stretch of games where he can like get into a rhythm. Because every time he does, it's always something. And with this, it was the shoulder. He
Mhm.
looked great. Again, against the Titans. And again, the Titans aren't a very good team. So that's the other thing that now we're gonna look for is can he play good against a better team? Because he really hasn't played a good team and looked really, really well. So Sunday, like that could be a game that could really change, I think, the energy within the Browns fan base. Because right now it's about 50-50.
Yeah. And no, if he does come out and beats the Ravens, I mean, everyone's gonna start saying, "Is Deshaun Watson back?"
Yeah.
Is he what he was back in Houston? I mean, yeah, he's probably not gonna throw for 300 yards this season in any game because I think that shoulder is gonna hinder him from doing that. But I do think that the Watson that we all knew and loved that could run the football, that could make great plays. I think that part of Deshaun Watson will be back, and obviously the 300 yards and 3 touchdown games will come sooner or later, probably within the next year, because
Yep.
obviously he needs time to heal that shoulder. But I think if he can get that confidence back after if he beats the Ravens, like that confidence is gonna skyrocket, and he's gonna be like, "Oh, okay, let's go! Like this is it. We're gonna turn it up." And the Ravens are a game ahead of you because they haven't had
Hmm.
their bye's not until week 13.
Yep.
So technically, if you beat the Ravens, you're like in baseball terms, really, you're a half a game behind
Hmm.
because you're on 6 wins, they're on 7. They'll be 7-3, you'll be 6-3, so you're going to be a half a game behind the Ravens for first place if you beat them, and you play Pittsburgh right after, so that you got
At
two
home
divisional.
too. At home, Pittsburgh will
Yeah,
be at home, which I think is going to be really big because we've usually struggled in on their field a lot more than we have on our field. And right now, I think we're playing some of our best ball at home anyway. So that's going to be
yeah,
big too.
yeah, and I'll be at that game too, so I'll be
Oof,
keeping a good
oof,
eye.
oof.
I'll be
Good game.
Oh yeah, so I'll be keeping a good eye on what's going on, especially so.
Absolutely.
But no, I think if Deshaun beats the Ravens, the questions of is Deshaun back will resurface, and I think he would be because like we said in that second half, he looked so good in that second half. He looked poised. He looked like old Deshaun Watson.
Hmm.
Like you saw the glimpses of the old him running
Oh
the
yeah.
football effectively, throwing the football effectively. I mean, yeah, the touchdown kind of slipped out of his fingers, and luckily enough, it bounced off that dude's helmet and flew 20 yards for somehow, some way, and
Yeah.
landed in Amari Cooper's hands. But hey, those are plays you take
Hmm.
because Deshaun's like, oh dang, like that slipped out of my fingers a little bit, but it worked out. And again, you're gonna have those because you're gonna have that little tick in your shoulder, and it's gonna hinder some throws a little bit. But once you get that thing feeling good and it's nice and soothed out, man, that ball's gonna sling, and I can't wait, dude. Like I think Deshaun has a good chance against the Ravens. I think what we missed last time when we played them. Obviously, we had a rookie quarterback who threw 3 picks, 2 of them which led to the Ravens being in the
Worse.
red zone
Yeah.
scoring. scoring 2 quick touchdowns and stuff. And what killed us was that the defense was always on the field.
Yeah.
And I think with Deshaun back, you hold on to the ball a lot better. Kevin Stefanski calls better plays with him on the field.
Yeah.
And I think the defense stays off the field good enough time to where they can make a big impact in stopping Lamar Jackson, stopping, Mark Andrews, stopping
the run game, really.
stopping
it's
the run
game.
game.
Yeah, their run game has been disgusting.
And the thing is, Lamar hasn't been that spectacular in the air this year. It's all been the run game from the Ravens. That's how they got a lot of their scores, is the run game. Even Lamar rushing touchdowns. Like, you haven't seen a lot of Mark Andrews touchdowns, or you haven't seen a lot of Zay Flowers. There's a couple of times where they get the ball and they do well with the ball in their hands, like they make big plays out of it. But other than that, Lamar hasn't been throwing downfield. He hasn't been effective throwing the football. It's all for all the Ravens offense. It's just been the ground game. If you can stop the ground game, it's over for the Ravens because they're not going to be able to get points unless Justin Tucker keeps making 55-yard field goals.
Yeah. I mean, which he's obviously capable of doing, but I mean, every time that we have beaten the Ravens, it's always been by stopping the run and making Lamar beat you in the air. And with how our corners are playing, good luck. Good luck, because you really don't have. I mean, they don't have a scary wide receiver core. No. Honestly, I think the one that I'm most scared of is Flowers, because he's just quick and he is a very good route runner. But Odell looks slow. I know he scored last week, but that wasn't with Lamar at quarterback, and it was in garbage time. Obviously Mark is who he is. Andrews is a big dude, and Likely is a big dude and a lot more athletic. So they definitely have guys that can help them. But yeah, if we stop this run game, I'm Tadoni right now, we can easily beat them, because even with the 3 turnovers we had against them in that first game, we still won the time of possession somehow, which means our defense was still holding up. And the fact we only gave 28 points, considering the 3 picks that we threw and having crappy field position the entire game, pretty much. If we have a different quarterback in that game, even if it was PJ, it could have been a different outcome. You never know. So, and I think right now everybody's just kind of playing with some good, solid confidence. And with Watson, I think a lot of his true things are all up here. And if he can just stay poised and stay confident up here, he's hard to stop. So that's what I'm going to look for with Watson. Can you keep your vibes up, and can you rally around your guys, and really have them buy in? Because I mean, I know for the fact the guys do believe in him. Even Chief said it. I think it was on Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. He was pretty much saying, "Hey, we fully believe in Watson. Like we know what he is capable of doing. We see it in practice every day. He just hasn't had time to like truly warm up. So like, let's give him a chance." And I think the one thing that I would love to do also is better establish the run, because we did not run the ball nearly as well as I thought we were. And then one more topic I want to bring up about this. What's your thoughts right now on Jerome Ford? Because I've been a little critical of him the last few weeks. He's 20 carries for like 40-something yards last week. Just not efficient in the run game. I feel like he's doing a lot of dancing. He's great in the pass game, but what are your thoughts? Like, do you want to see a little more Pierre be strong, or even just more Hunt, or do you think we should just keep trying to ride it out with Ford despite these early issues that he seems to have?
I would like, honestly, and I heard this on Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show, and I think it was G. Bush who said this. Honestly, I would like to see more Pierre Strong.
Yeah, me too.
Over Jerome Ford. Like, I would still make Hunt like your number 2 and keep him for more of like your goal line red zone type running back, or if like a short third down, or like a short down running back.
Pretty much the power back. Kareem is the power back now.
Like, Pierre Strong just looks so much better. He's
so much faster.
He's so much faster, but he finds the gaps better too. He doesn't dance around with his feet. He just, as soon as he sees that hole, he just right through it, and he gets 5-6 yards, almost like a Nick Chubb. He almost gets like 4 or 5 yards, 5 or so yards per carry. Like, he's not sitting there dance around trying to like, oh, well, that hole closed. Like, he just, as soon as he sees it, he's just gone, or
Mhm.
he quickly makes a quick adjustment to try and get some kind of yardage. Whereas Jerome Ford, he stops too much. He stops, thinks about it too much, and then boom, tackle for loss, boom, tackle for
Yeah.
loss, boom, tackle for loss. It's like, dude, we can't keep even on the pitches. Some of the pitches we do are really
Yeah.
good, but he blows them away because
He's
he
too
stops.
hesitant. Yeah,
He's
he's
too
like
hesitant.
he just doesn't seem to have the vision that you want a running back to have, and
No.
it's weird too because he's very good in the pass game. Like every time we get him the ball out in space, he's good because he has the ability, the ability to go.
And make people
And
miss. Yeah.
so I think he needs to play that old Kareem Hunt sort of uh down back to where he's our, third, our third down back for passing. Because I mean,
Yeah.
we really haven't used Kareem Hunt too much in the pass game. It's been a lot of goal line and a lot of power, and I'm fine with that because if as long as you get Kareem, in the game a little bit, you're going to have fun. But like Pierre Strong definitely deserves a little more of a chance because Ford just doesn't seem to have the vision that I really want him to have because you see sort of characteristics with the way he runs the ball next to Chubb. Like I used to think he was a mini Chubb, and it's just I don't know anymore. He just wants to dance too much. He doesn't want to just run downfield, hit the hole, and go. And it's
Yeah.
and he also cannot keep up his feet. God, does he trip so much? Like we've been so spoiled with Chubb because Chubb would never trip or never fall, and now we just don't have that. I like it stinks.
Well, and let's take a look at the Seahawks game too. Pierre Strong and Jerome Ford both had 10 carries. Pierre Strong had 10, almost 10 more yards than Jerome Ford, which I mean, Kareem Hunt led the backfield with 14 carries, 55 yards, but Pierre Strong had 10 carries, 41 yards. So it's not like Pierre Strong was that far behind Kareem Hunt. Like Kareem Hunt had obviously 4 more carries, but
Mhm.
Pierre Strong knows what to do with those carries, and he had the longest run too on the team with 12 yards. And
And
so
I'm pretty sure he caught a really nice screenplay too, if I'm not mistaken in
he
that game.
did. Yeah, because he had one reception for 41 yards as
Yeah.
well.
Yes. Yeah, dude. That was just a basic screen. And it went, when it went for 40. And again, like Ford can do that, but like for some reason Pierre just seems faster right now.
Yeah. And I kind of like what G Bush said. I think you give Pierre Strong an opportunity and let
Just
him
give
go
him
out
10
there and
carries. Just
give
give
him
him
10
10
carries.
carries consistently and see what he does.
Yeah, and I think he said that too. Like, give him at least like 10 to 12 carries and see what he does with those 10 to 12 carries. If you still feel confident in Jerome Ford and Jerome Ford has a massive game against his defense, then continue to go with Jerome Ford. But if Pierre Strong picks apart this Ravens defense, if they give him both 10 carries and Strong picks apart this defense better, you got to go with Pierre Strong for almost the rest of the way because at that point, you're probably your best back right now besides
Yeah.
Kareem Hunt. And you're going to
Mhm.
use Kareem Hunt as a power back and a goal line back because obviously you need Kareem Hunt to pound in touchdowns.
Yeah.
So, and it seems like Pierre Strong's decent in the pass game too. I mean, he caught a pass for 40 yards, and that was just a simple dump off screen pass. So,
Yeah.
and if he can run for 41 yards off a dump off screen, I mean, imagine what he could do, in a first, second down situation. Even if you do throw in the first and second down, he could give you a little screen option, probably give you 10 yards.
Yeah.
So I think Jerome Ford is just too hesitant, too happy feeted. And I think it's not a confidence issue, in my opinion. I think it's more just he just kind of lacks that vision to
Yeah.
where it makes him stop and think, and he stops and thinks too much, and it kills him.
Yeah. And I mean, look, I know also we have not had like the greatest line play this year
No.
on offense. It seems to definitely start to regress a little bit. And obviously we don't have Jed. And we may not even have Dewan this week. I don't know what's going on with that, but I know he's on the report. So it's going to be interesting. I obviously know James Hudson is going to play, but if DeWanda doesn't play either, it's going to be very intriguing. But from what I heard this week, it sounded like Hudson was playing right. So I
Yeah.
do wonder if they're going to try to see what DeJuan can do at left tackle, which is, I mean, if DeJuan Jones does well at left tackle, that starts that conversation that we all want to have, which is, do you move on from Jed, and do you let DeJuan be the left tackle and then let Conklin come back and be our right tackle for another year or two, because he's on, he's had what, a 3-year deal I think when we re-signed him. So that starts a conversation right there. That starts a big conversation if DeJuan can play well at left tackle, because
So
obviously it's a change, but I don't know.
so looking at the injury report from today, Dewan Jones was limited today.
Okay.
He missed yesterday, but they did call up Jerron Christian from the practice squad. So I think it's gonna, if they do sit Dewan Jones, I think it's for more precautionary reasons, because they probably want him to be healthy for the rest of the season rather than him going back out there against a very difficult defense and getting hurt again and then probably missing the season.
All right.
So it looks like, because James Hudson's obviously getting reps for where Jed Wills is,
Yeah.
and Dewan Jones is kind of just in and out of practice and kind of just working on what he has. But if we see that I think the rumor is if Dewan Jones does practice tomorrow, then he's going to probably play on Sunday.
Yeah.
But if he's limited again, there's a high chance that he sits for Sunday, so that way he can rest up for the weekend and then be full participant all week and be ready for Pittsburgh,
Right.
which I'd rather have than him being injured. And I don't know too much about Jerron Christian and where he came from, but I mean, at this point, it's got to be next man up, because you're down. This will be your third tackle you're down.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm looking up stats on him right now.
I mean, I don't know who else is on the roster in terms of who can come in if both of them are out. Because obviously, I mean, you obviously still have Hudson. I do get that, but not having Jed also it's not going to be pretty. Uh,
Yeah.
but I was intrigued at the fact that Jed's injury was not season ending, because it seemed like it was. Like when I saw the replay, it didn't really look that bad, but the way he seemed to act, it seemed like it was pretty painful. So I was a little. I mean, I was obviously fortunately happy for him that it's not a season ender, but it was very weird how that ended up working out that way, I guess. But I do want to
Yeah.
see.
He was on the Chiefs last year. It says for
Okay.
Jerron Christian,
Okay.
but he also was on Houston and Washington, and he was on Houston from 21 to 23, but he also played last year for the Chiefs. So it looked like he played with the Chiefs and then moved to Houston before moving to Cleveland.
Right. Okay.
And his last game was the 1st of October against the Pittsburgh Steelers when he was with Houston. And I mean, just looks like generic stats. I mean, it looks like he's just an average tackle. So
Yeah.
probably not more, probably just something simple you can ask for, a guy who can just come in, do his job, and be done. I'd rather have that too. And who knows? He could probably be the Jed Wills replacement.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I mean, obviously you don't know, but yeah, it is. That I mean, that would be like a
Oh, and you know
nice.
what? I think he's also the. I think he's also an inside tackle. So I think what they're going to do is they might move Joel Bitonio to the outside and put Jerron in the middle, and let Joel be the Jed replacement. And if Dewan doesn't play, then James Hudson will fill in for Dewan Jones.
I mean, every time Joel has always played tackle, when he's always performed well. So I think the only reason why they wouldn't is just because of his knee.
Yeah.
They might not think he has it in him, but I don't know. I was trying to look at our depth chart, but the Browns didn't post it, so I'm not too worried about it. But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it'll be interesting how this folds. I do think though. I mean, if Dewan seems to practice, he will play, and it didn't seem to affect him this past weekend. I didn't see him struggle. So, and again though, that's also saying the Cardinals do not have a good pass rush. So I mean,
Yeah.
it was a pretty easy game for him to play. But as long as it doesn't affect his range of motion or anything, I think he'll be all right because obviously he's going to have a tough task. And
Yeah.
you know, TJ
Also,
Watt.
also looking at the injury report for the game on Sunday, so far it says all estimate return dates November 9th for everybody on both teams, to be honest with you, and all their statuses is questionable. For the Browns, it's Greg Newsome, questionable, Pierre Strong, questionable, Njoku, questionable, Bell, questionable, David Bell, questionable, and then Marquise Goodwin, questionable, with
Yeah.
estimated return dates of today. But same with Baltimore, all questionable return dates of today. Rashad Bateman, Keaton Mitchell, Marlon Humphrey, Jalen Amore Davis, and Michael Pierce.
Okay. So I mean, the only ones that really matter for the Ravens is Humphrey and Bateman, I
Bateman.
think.
And Keaton Mitchell, because Keaton Mitchell has been decent as a running back for them too, because
And he went off last week.
and he went off last week. So
He
Keaton
did.
Mitchell is kind of decent for them too. So he'd be a good option for. But
Absolutely.
for us, it's almost freaking everybody.
Yeah. But let's go ahead and change course a little bit. Talk a little bit about some Buckeyes. Obviously, I talked last week about how I'm going to the game this weekend, so I'm very excited about that. But Ohio State had another decently easy game. I mean, it wasn't super pretty, but they got it done. They won, and they won by double digits. And I think this week is going to be a little easier because MSU has not been very great. What are you expecting out of that? Are you with me on that?
I mean, yeah, absolutely. I mean, Michigan State's 3-6 and 1-5 in the conference. So I mean, and
Very
right
good.
now, according to ESPN, their match predictor has Ohio State winning at 99 or at 98% to
Yeah.
2% for Michigan State, with the over with the actually the OSU line with minus 31.5. So they think Ohio State's going to win by 32 or more.
I mean, look, I would love it if we have like a big game on offense where we just put up
Yeah.
40 just to shut everybody up. Because, dude, I had a fight with a Michigan fan this weekend because I had shared something about obviously the stuff going on with that with that team up north, which we will talk about here in a little bit. But
Mhm.
I shared a article about it, and I was like, man, they just keep having to make more and more excuses. And this fan was just talking a lot of crap about Ohio State. How this has been the most mid quarterback play that we've had here in a while. That this offense is very underwhelming, and sure it might be, but when you look at McCord's stats next to McCarthy's, it's literally almost identical.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've done this, but I have, and I looked it up, and I even took a screenshot of it because I was going to use this, against him. So right now, JJ McCarthy, he's got 2,100 yards on the year, 18 scores, 3 picks, 92 and a 92.3 QBR, which is pretty good. Accord, 2,352 yards, 17 scores, only 4 picks, two of which were in one game. And he's got an 82.8 QBR. So he's still top 10 QBR. Listen, I get that McCord has not played tremendous, but also we have an outstanding run game. Trayvon Henderson is on a tear right now. The last few,
Yeah.
he has been playing outstanding, and he's outshining the other guys in Mine Williams, Chip. Uh, we have a nasty running back room right now, and I think we're just riding that a little bit. And plus, our defense is a lot better than it has been in previous years. Um, I cannot wait to play Michigan. I cannot wait. I don't want it to be in 2 more weeks. I want it to be now. I hate playing them, and the fact that we've lost 2 years to them sucks. But the other news that we want to talk about, and the reason why I'm going to bring this up, obviously with the cheating scandals thing going on right now, How do you think all of this stuff that's going around, these rumors, now uh, they're starting to put the ball back in Ohio State's court and say that, oh, Ohio State cheated too, and they were the ones that blew the whistle on us and blah blah blah. It's starting to become a distraction now within our fan base. How do you think all of this? What do you think is going to do to this matchup? Like, do you think it's going to light a fire under Ohio, like Ohio State's ass, or I don't know. I really expect a pissed off Ohio State team in 2 weeks.
No, I agree. I think Ohio State is probably going to be more pissed off than Michigan because, yeah, Michigan's got the scandals against them, but it's because they cheated against teams like Ohio State and Penn State and all the other Big Ten teams. It's because they got film, and it's not even just film. They have guys paying money to go sit in the stands and just record and like zoom in on playbooks and stuff like that. Like, and what they're trying to say, like, oh, Ohio State did this, and so did Penn State, and so did a couple of the other Big Ten teams.
They watched film.
I was like, they
watched film.
I was like, they watched film. They went to the Big Ten Network probably and just watched film, which is legal. And they're like, well, they're sharing information with each other. Again, it's about film, which is legal.
How do you think you get film from other teams? You ask. Hey,
yeah,
you guys have film on this game.
They're not having a guy with a fucking whole ass video camera sitting right behind the bench.
Like, this has happened since high school. This is high school shit because this is what we did in high school. So the fact that Michigan keeps trying to,
they're trying to throw everyone else under the bus,
and it's like no.
I don't think the NCAA is going to fall for it either, and the Big Ten isn't falling for it either. Because like, there's like,
I hope they ban them this year from from the bowl game.
Doesn't matter because they're 0-8 in the last decade in bowl game.
Yeah. But like, straight up ban them. Don't even let them go to the Big Ten championship game.
I think.
Fuck it. I don't care.
I think what will most likely happen is the entire staff will be fired, effective immediately, because again, they're all part of it because they're part of the staff.
And Harbaugh playing dumb in this, man, I think it's the funniest stuff ever because you see the clips of him like celebrating with Stallions.
Yeah,
I think that's hilarious to me.
I don't know what's going on, but I'm going to celebrate with Coach Stallions. But it's getting ridiculous. Like, they're trying to pin other teams. It's not going to work. I think what happens is Michigan's going to get hit with some sanctions. They're going to get hit with fines. The coaching staff's going to get fired. Harbaugh's going to lose his job. I think Michigan, like you said, Michigan might be banned from bowl contention for the next couple of years or so. They might lose recruiting and stuff like that too. So
they definitely will if they lose their staff. Like, people won't want to play.
Well, that's the thing. It's not even just they're going to lose some recruiting; they're going to lose a lot of recruits because who's going to want to go to a school that doesn't have Jim Harbaugh Jim Harbaugh on it? Like, nobody's going to want to go there. Nobody wants to go to a school without one of the best college coaches and one of the best NFL coaches. It's not gonna work out. And to be involved in a school that has a cheating scandal against them, nobody wants to go to that kind of school. They'll flock to other Big Ten schools. They'll flock to Penn State. They'll flock to Ohio State. They'll flock to Wisconsin. They'll flock to the other Big Ten schools. If they have other big time offers, they might flock to those schools like a Clemson or a Bama or an FSU. They might just go somewhere else completely. But you're going to lose so much scholarships. All the people who committed to you, they're going to be gone. They're going to commit somewhere else. That program, if they're found guilty of what they're doing, that program is going to sink hard. Especially even if they just lose the coaching staff and they're not banned from bowl games or anything, that program's going to sink to the ground. And
it's going to go backwards 5 years at least.
Yeah, and they're not going to rebuild for, like you said, probably for 5 years to almost maybe a decade. They're not going to be able to build. So they shot themselves in the foot big time, and they got caught doing it.
And by the way, too, like, I want to say this, as an Ohio State fan, obviously we have Ohio State fans that are very bitter and like very like they are so pissy in the easiest way. Like Ohio State fans are so spoiled. I like that Michigan has beat us the last 2 years. Obviously, I don't like losing,
Me
but
neither.
like it's good for the rivalry. It's good for the games. Like, did you really think it was like fun for Ohio State fans to go into this game every year for 20 years and go, oh yeah, that's an easy dub. Like
Yeah,
like we're
Michigan's an
gonna
easy
beat them every
win.
single time. Like it's an easy win because it was for literally almost 20 years. Tressel dominated them for the most part. We didn't lose until we lost Jim fucking Tressel and had Luke Fickle, who's now Wisconsin's coach.
Yeah,
And,
we didn't lose
and
to
as
them
soon as we
until
got Urban, we didn't lose when Urban was here. Urban, that was the only game he cared about. That's why it's the only reason why I liked the Urban era was because he always took this game seriously. He
yeah.
never called them Michigan. He said that team up north. He created that. And I feel like with Ryan Day, like he didn't take it as seriously as he should have, and now he definitely should. This
I
should
th-
light a fire under him that you've never seen before. It
I think
should.
it does because now that I mean, it's going to light a fire under all the Big Ten teams' asses against Michigan because now that they found out that Michigan has cheated against almost every single team in the conference, especially the more or less the big time teams like your Penn States and your Michigan States and your Wisconsins, it's you're just again you're shooting yourself in the foot. Like now Ryan Day is pissed at you, and he's probably got the big M in the locker room, and he's like, guys, look, this is a game we're looking forward to. I don't care about really much about Michigan State. I don't really care about Minnesota.
Yeah.
This is a game we're working our asses off for because I want to hang 60 plus on these guys. I
Trust
want
me,
to
I do too.
I want to decimate these losers and show them, you know what? Yeah, you can cheat, but you're still gonna get your asses kicked.
Yeah.
And guess what? You're gonna go to a bowl game and you're still gonna get your asses kicked in that bowl game too. Meanwhile, we're gonna be going to the college football playoff dancing around, like, hey, we're, back here again for the umpteenth time. And
Yep.
like you said, Jim Tressel handled them all in the all in the 2000s. We lost them. I think it was like 2001 or 2002. We lost them.
Yeah.
Beat him up until like 2011. In came Urban Meyer. Bang, we beat him for another decade. In came Ryan Day. Yes, he beat him once and lost him twice.
Yeah.
But now that you know that they cheated against you in those couple losses, it wasn't really much of your fault because they knew everything you're going to run.
Oh yeah. The video evidence that they found with some of those, like especially
Yeah.
during the Aiden Hutchinson era, dude, they literally knew what was coming before they would even hit. Like when they would have a run play to the right and they would crash both their safeties instantly, like without hesitation, they just knew it. That pisses me off. Like
And
that is,
they knew your audibles too.
they knew your audibles, they knew everything, and it's like, listen, it's one thing if you just prepared very well with film and you just had a solid game plan and you just got outright beat because Michigan had good players. It wasn't like they were slouch teams, but it infuriates me. And I don't think we have a good enough offense to hang 60 points on them.
No,
But
I wish.
if we do, I will be the loudest person on Facebook and Twitter. Hands
Oh,
down.
100%.
I will be laughing like a hyena because of how mad I am about this. Like I said, I don't like it is what it is. When you lose to your rival, you lose to your rival. It is what it is. But when you lose like that, and all of this surrounds that, um, this is going to be a bloodbath. Like this is going to be like a game where like a fight will break out. I think. I truly do. I think
Yeah.
something's going to happen.
Could be like
Players are going to be pissed. Coaches are going to be pissed. It's going to be a nasty game.
It's gonna be like the San Francisco Browns game where there's a brawl at the beginning of the game before the kickoff even happened. You might see that. You might see that happen.
And yeah, it's going to be a fun game. And obviously, we still have 2 more games to go, which at least this weekend's game is going to be fun for me because I'm going and it's, the gray jersey night. So it'll be a fun game to be around. Night game.
Mm-hmm.
My first night game there ever. Like, I'm excited about that. But I want this game to end quickly. I want us to beat the snot out of Minnesota, and then nothing else matters. Like it's Ohio State and Michigan, and I've kind of always been that way with this rivalry. Like anytime that game is ready to go and it's time for that game, that whole week, I like as a fan, I'm so locked in. Like it's the only thing I care about. Like, because you gotta like you gotta think too. The Browns have been bad for so long. It like Ohio State was always my go to because they always
Yeah.
won, so it was easy to just root for them so easily. And so college ball, especially rivalry week, man, you cannot beat it. And the rivalry games that week are so great.
Yeah.
They're some of the best games ever. It creates the baddest freaking upsets. I love it. It's my favorite week of the year. Um, but this one's gonna taste a little bitter, and I really do think there's gonna be some nasty play in that game. It's gonna be fun.
Oh, 100%. I'm just waiting for Thanksgiving weekend too for that when that game comes on. I'm just like,
Oh yeah,
let's do this. Like
yeah.
Thanksgiving weekend, I'm ready for
I'm
all the
still
football.
full. Like
I'm ready for the hammer. Like I'm waiting for the beatdown.
me
And
too. I really am.
dude,
I'm ready.
that's a game where I just want to have like a bunch of people just hang out and watch a game and have a good time. Like that would be a fun game to do that. But
Absolutely, absolutely.
dude, it's just every time we talk about it, just makes me so excited for it to come and just be here.
Hmm.
Like I'm ready for it. Like I don't care about Michigan State. I don't care about Minnesota. Bring me that team up north, and let's kick the ever living shit out of that team,
And we're in Ann Arbor, in
which will make
Arbor
it
this
even
week, right?
better. We're
I'm
in Ann
pretty sure
Arbor,
it
which
is.
would make it even sweeter.
That I mean, especially after they did what they did to us last year, you know, in Columbus, like to beat them in Ann Arbor, that is going to be bittersweet. It
And
really,
guess
really
what?
is.
That'll be the last time. Those last two games they beat us will be the last two times in a decade again where they're going to beat.
Yeah, I did not know though. So even though Henderson has been out a few games this year, so obviously his stats are going to be a little bit less. But Blake Corum has had a really good year for them this year. I will say he's got 650 yards on the ground, 16 touchdowns on 126 carries. That's solid. But
Yeah.
I mean, Ohio State also was very pass heavy at the start of this year. Marvin Harrison already is going to hit 1,000 yards by the end of this weekend because he's probably going to hit 100. Um, against MSU. Obviously, Michigan does have a tough matchup this week in Penn State, but honestly, after we played Penn State, I know what they're about. So for me, like, I hope Michigan finally struggles. Like, I hope that they finally have that game where they don't get to score 40. Because if they score 40 against Penn State, I'm going to be a little more worried. But it would be nice if Penn State scares the crap out of them and really gives a real taste of like, hey, this is what a good team looks like. This is what a good quality team looks like, and not these crappy teams that you have faced for the last 10 weeks. Yeah,
Hell, I just hope Penn State beats them.
I mean, yes and no because I want it to be that 1 versus 2 game again. Like I want that because every time
Yeah.
the rivalry is 1 versus 2 or like it's always a top 4 or top 5, game. It really builds that up because then it builds up the Big Ten championship game. And obviously we
Yeah.
missed that the last 2 years as well. And that's something that I think as soon as you get into the Big Ten championship game, I think that's an automatic win because nobody else in the Big Ten on that side of the conference scares me. And it's always a weird matchup. It's always like Ohio State and North Western or Ohio State and Nebraska or Wisconsin, and it's just like those games, like we're gonna win almost every time. So once you get past like that is our Big Ten championship game because the Big Ten championship game in itself usually is a win, and by then you're in the playoffs. So
You want to hear the funny thing is?
yes,
So the Big Ten West, I was in first place with 7-2.
yeah,
Then it's
you're good.
Minnesota at 5-4, Wisconsin 5-4, Nebraska at
Yeah,
5-4. Then
it,
Illinois, Northwestern, Purdue are under 500.
it is so like underbalanced. Like I hate how they split up the Big Ten. I really wish they would have just went back to hey, who's the two best teams in that conference. Okay, we'll let them play, even if it is a rematch. I don't care. It has to be the best game. And now that we're going to start bringing in the USCs and the Oregons and stuff
It's
that
gonna
are
be a
going to
lot more
come into,
interesting.
it's going to be a lot more interesting. It's going to make the Big Ten so much more fun because it has been ass. It's been booty cheeks. Like, realistically speaking, there should be some teams in the Big Ten that should go to the MAC-10, straight up, because of how bad they've been.
I think a lot of these teams belong in a MAC conference,
Yeah,
like Purdue at 2-7,
yeah, MAC.
like Northwestern 4-5. I mean, they're 2-4 in the conference, 1-5 in the conference for Purdue. Like, it's just so disgusting. Like Indiana and Michigan State are 1-5 in the conference. They're 3-6. Like, I mean, everyone else in the Big Ten East is really good. Like, obviously, us and Michigan are 9-0. Penn State's 8-1. Rutgers are 6-3, and Maryland's 5-4.
Yeah,
But other than that, like, then there's two games under 500. But then the Big Ten West is just everyone's under 500, and everyone's just like, we don't know who's going to go from the West into the Big Ten championship game. It's like it's probably nobody because nobody cares about them.
Yeah.
Until USC and Oregon come along, and that's who they're going to have to face in the Big Ten championship game. Is actually one of those two solid teams.
Yeah.
Not, oh, dude, I can't wait for the Big Ten championship game against Northwestern, and Ohio State's going to win 75-0.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, because that's usually how it was, It it literally all started when we won the Natty in 14 or 15? Yeah,
Well, we
it was
won when the football playoff first began in 2014. We were the first winners of it.
Because we came into that game against Wisconsin because I remember it was Wisconsin, it was Bama, and then it was Oregon.
Yep, Cardale Jones.
And when we came into that game and we were killing Wisconsin. Wisconsin, I don't think understood what happened. That's how bad we beat them. They couldn't adjust. They couldn't do anything. And then we go to Bama and we do that. Like, that was such a fun run. But like, that's how the Big Ten championship games were for us for so long. Every time we went, it was, we're gonna beat them pretty significantly. Like, even if they were a decent team, Ohio State always ended up pulling out and having the edge. And like, that's why I say you get through you get through that team up north, and that's your Big Ten championship. Like, you're automatically going to be in the playoff regardless. At the very least, the Rose Bowl. But you want the playoff. And
yeah, dude. I just saw the scoreline of the Ohio State Wisconsin game in 2014. It was 59-0 Ohio State.
Yeah,
in that championship game.
I think we scored like 38 in the first half because the first half ended on a Joey Bosa like sack strip score or something.
Yeah.
Like, it was one of those games where it was just like, what the fuck is going on? Like, what's happening? Because everybody was like, we don't know Jones, we don't know 12 gauge, and we got to see what 12 gauge was about. That was such a fun year.
You know what else my favorite scoreline is? September 15th, 2018. The University of Akron beating Northwestern 39-34.
Oh my God.
Akron 2-0.
I remember that.
Akron went 2-0 after that game because they beat Northwest. I was like, and I sat there and I thought about it too. I was like, it's so depressing in the Big Ten West when the team from the MAC conference, like Akron, who has probably won like one or two games a season for the last like decade and a half, and they come out here and they just dominate Northwestern, a Big Ten college. It's like, that's how like a team like Akron could replace Northwestern in the Big Ten conference, and it wouldn't make a difference.
Yeah, well, it didn't. I'm pretty sure Akron also beat Kent State as well this year, right? They won the
Akron won the wagon wheel this year. They beat Kent State on
a
game-winning drive. Yeah.
It's expected. Kent State really hasn't been that great.
Kent State's 1-9 right now, and I think Akron's like
that's
2-7.
The Sean Lewis effect.
Yeah.
Dude, that's the crazy thing too, is because Sean Lewis just got benched basically by Pat Shurmur. Pat Shurmur is the one calling plays for Colorado. No, you lose. Of course you lost that game. Like, Shadir was probably like, Dad, what the hell are you doing? Why did you do that? Sean Lewis is one of the better play callers in college football, football altogether. I would love for him to come to Ohio State.
Oh, me too.
I would be floored. I would be floored because the dude has a good mind. He would be a great pair with Brian Hartline. Oh my
Oh
gosh.
god, dude, that'd be so good.
That would be a fun offense. Like be like Ryan Day, go away.
Well,
Let
you just keep
Sean
Ryan.
Lewis and Brian
Just
Hartline, or even just let Brian Hartline be the guy that starts to call plays now, because
well, that's what I
Ryan Day
mean.
should have no aspect on that anymore.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. Like, you could have just Ryan Day as a head coach and just let those two cook.
Yeah,
let Brian Hartline still be the wide receivers coach, and you can let the other guy be the offensive coordinator. Or
yeah.
it don't matter what you do with that. You could mix it up a little bit if you wanted to. Hell, you could make fucking Ryan Day the wide receiver coach, and when
Yeah. Because I mean, here's the thing: I don't think Ryan Day is a bad head coach. I think he just should not be calling plays. I think he should like help facilitate Brian Hartline, but let Hartline be the guy. Because
Ryan Day is a
I
good
think he's
motivator,
proven it. He is, but I just think Hartline is deserving of being
the
the
head coach.
full OC and eventually being a head coach. And I
Yeah.
think he's holding out for that. Like I truly think Brian Hartline. Like, all right, if we lose to that team up north for a third year in a row, there's going to be a legit convo about, hey, Ryan Day might not be a head coach for us anymore because you can't lose to Michigan 3 years in a row.
No, I think if he does lose to Michigan again, I think he's
He's getting
immediately on the
fired.
hot seat. He's immediately either fired or on the hot seat. And he's probably gonna be fired sometime in that off season. Like, listen, you lost to Michigan 3 years in a row. This is a team we are used to beating for a decade.
Yeah,
We can't be the ones losing for a decade now.
no.
And we're just gonna have to go with what we think is best. We're gonna let you go. Brian Hartline is probably gonna be elevated to the head coaching position.
Yeah.
And hell, I wouldn't mind letting Brian Hartline head coach and let him call the plays. Like, I think he'd be
Hmm.
really, really freaking good at it.
And I mean, you got to think too. You would keep a lot of your recruits by letting him do that because a
And you'll
lot
get
of
a
our
lot of 5-star wide receivers
you
too. You would
would
get a
because
lot of 5-star wide receivers.
everybody knows if you want to be a good NFL wide receiver, you go to Ohio State, and that's why we have the prospects that we do.
Marvin
Marvin Harrison
Harrison.
last week had a good week. Marvin Harrison had like 25 yards last week. It was all Tate. So
Yeah.
like that is something that's going to be scary, and we still have more recruits that are going to come in. Like Ohio State's primed for some good years, and if this stuff with that with that team up north goes bad, the Big Ten is going to be run again through Ohio State for a long, long time, and it's going to not be fun because it's just going to be boring. So I hope that the new teams that are gonna come in are really going to give us like legit um, issues. I just want competition within the Big Ten because I'm tired of Ohio State always being written off just because we are in the Big Ten and it's not as big of a conference. Uh, yeah, no, I see your cat back there being a crackhead right now. So funny.
he's being a
I
crackhead.
love
I'm just
him.
sitting there
He's
like
so
trying not
funny.
to
I
smile, but he's
know,
like
I know.
he's
He's just
instead of just drifting on a hardwood floor, just
I love it, dude. The cat zoomies are some of the funniest zoomies ever.
like now, like there's the other one. There's a big,
Yeah.
the big
Oh
one.
my gosh. So, all right, before we get off here, Cavs talk a little bit. Obviously, we haven't really talked too much Cavs talk lately because
No,
things aren't going very well so far. It's been a slow start. Um, but the real conversation that I really want to have in terms of the Cavs is JB Bickerstaff.
yes,
What are your thoughts on him? Because I'm not gonna lie, ever since we lost to the Hawks back in what was it 2022 or 21, I think when
yeah.
we I've honestly wanted to move on from JB. And they've been patient and stayed with him, but I am not sold on him. So where are you at on JB?
No, I'm not sold on him either. And if you ask anybody around Cleveland and stuff like that, nobody's sold on JB anymore. Everyone wants, even going to a couple of the games so far this season, everyone's been saying JB out basically, and it's just the consensus in Cleveland now is that JB Bigstuff should probably leave and get out of here because he's just not doing it. yes, you made the playoffs last year, and that's probably what saved your job was you making the playoffs.
Yeah.
But now you're struggling. You're 3-5, and you're third in the Central. I mean, Indiana's kicking your ass, and I mean, Milwaukee's just doing what they're expected to do. But you can't just keep having these games. I mean, you lost to the Thunder 128-120 a couple 2 nights ago or a night ago, and you play Golden State for a second time in 2 days on Saturday. I mean, yeah, you beat them by 11 the last time you played them.
Yeah.
But that was on the home court. Now you're in Golden State, which is a very impossible place to play and win.
Yeah.
So, and I think he's just got to go. I mean, he doesn't know how to. His rotations are not that great, and
No.
I think I don't think the players the players he has are capable of winning. I mean, you even got Amani Bates who showed up a couple times and has done pretty well, but the last couple of games, no Amani Bates. He doesn't know he doesn't get the good people out there. And I mean, I saw Sam Merrill ball out against the New York Knicks when they came here, and he had like 3 straight threes in a row. And it's like, oh my god, Sam Merrill's 3-point Jesus. I mean, but then again, he averaged like 5 threes a game, 6 threes a game, and then the G League. But I mean, he's a spot shooter. He makes every three he puts up. Basically, he's almost like a young Steph Curry. He puts up as soon as he puts up a three, he's like Kyle Korver all over again.
Yeah,
but
it's
he's just it's like he's afraid to use the bench, and what happens is you gas out the entire starting 5 because they're trying to do too much. And then you go to your bench because you have to with the last like few minutes left, and they just get hammered by whoever.
Yep.
And it's like, dude, you got to trust your bench a little bit more. You have the depth now. Use the bench. Yeah. He doesn't want to use them. He keeps Donovan Mitchell out there for almost a full 40 minutes. Like, he's been playing 38 minutes almost a game, and it's like, dude, you're gonna gas the hell out of these players, and once you gas them, they're gonna get injured.
Yeah, straight up. And oh yeah, he just has a hard time with his player rotations, and I'm tired of it. I really am. I think he's holding this team back, and I think he's going to be a reason that Donovan does leave, because I don't think he's sold on him, and I don't think he ever was. I really don't think Donovan's ever been sold on him. He just knows that he has the ability to go out and drop 38 points every night if he wants to. But the issue is, I feel like there's something being held back, and it's not letting guys like Darius and Mobley do what they are able to do or capable of doing. They're not aggressive enough. Like, they're being too passive, and I don't know if that is the Donovan effect or if there's something within the system that is just holding them back. I don't know what it is yet, but I think we're nearing the end of JB's time, especially if he continues to struggle. I think it's going to be very adamant that he's going to get canned. And I hate saying that because I obviously don't want that, but like, man, I'm just not impressed. I have not been impressed. He's been pissing me off for over a year now. I'm tired of him. I'm ready for him to go. I think he's been the biggest issues that we've had so far.
It's definitely not the players. It's him.
No.
Like, you have the players, you have the people who can ball out.
Yeah.
You're just not putting it all together.
I mean, it's a better overall roster now that we had last year. Like, we didn't have a bench like this. We didn't have Struss. You were playing Okoro every night as your starter, or you were playing LeVert. Like, you should have consistently at least a 10-man rotation with this team. Straight up.
And the funny thing is, too, I think instead of starting Max Strus, I think you start Karis LeVert over Max Strus, because last game, Karis LeVert was your top scorer at 29 points.
I think the only reason why they don't like doing that is because LeVert can be the other ball handler.
The bench scorer off the bench scorer, your better ball handler off the bench, yeah.
But the thing is usually he's playing with Mitchell or playing with Garland anyway. So you don't need him to be another ball, handler. And
You need him there for points. You need him there to
you
put up
just need him there
buckets.
for points. And again, I get him playing that sort of 6-man role. I'm fine with Struss starting because he's at least good on defense.
Well, and that's
But
the thing
like,
too. Like your whole bench is a defensive kind of bench. Niang, defensive player.
mhm,
Struess, defensive player. Like, yeah, they can hit shots too when you need them to hit shots, but
yeah,
they're known for their defense. Okoro off the bench defense.
yeah,
Like, you have a very high scoring starting five, and then you have a very defensive. Yeah, they're low scoring, but you have a very defensive but adamant second or your bench,
yeah,
your second five, and maybe that's the way to build off of it. Let your starters go out there, bang some points on the board, and give them like 10 minutes, let them cruise, and then take them off really quick. Give them a rest. Let the defense handle their job.
right,
Get some off the bench points. Get some fast break points from the bench, and then you put your starters back up. Now you're up by 10 or
yeah,
so, and now you're cooking because now the offense are well rested. They can go back out there, start throwing lobs again, start hammering threes. And I think that's been the problem too, is that JB's trying to turn into Steve Kerr and huck as many threes as he can in the game, and it's just that's not your game plan. That's not your game
no,
style.
no,
Your style is because JB, and this is how they won last year. His style last year was defensive work leads to easy offense.
yeah.
And that's how he operated last year, and it worked to perfection. But now he just seems like, you know what? Hey, as soon as you get down court, just huck up a three.
Yeah, it just doesn't seem like there is a plan. It's so
No.
weird, man. And like obviously I haven't really gotten to watch the games, which I keep forgetting to ask you to link me to that streaming service
I
that
sent it to you through
you
Twitter.
you did. Okay, good, because
Yeah.
I definitely need to use that. Um so I can start watching these games because F Valley Sports, I refuse to watch them. They're just annoying.
Yeah.
Um, so like
100%.
I just haven't gotten to watch the team, but it doesn't sound like I'm missing a whole lot. If anything, I get to miss the bad. I'm missing a lot of what's really going on. But it seems like media is blaming a little bit more. Like they're putting too much on Mobley right now, and it's just I don't know. I think JB has a lot to do with what's going on right now, and I think it's really hard not to
Mm-hmm.
see that. But I've been wrong before. I would love to be wrong. Obviously, this league is a league of runs, but right now, the Cavs just need something different. It just seems like whatever's going on is just old and it's boring, and they're
I
ready
think
for some sort of
I,
change.
I I think if you lose a lot of this West Coast trip, I think JB's got to go after this West Coast trip.
hmm Especially if he comes out negative.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's no reason why he shouldn't get canned out after that.
yeah, for sure.
All right. Well, fortunately, that is all the time we have today. Obviously, this is the Just BSN podcast. We had another great day today.
Of course.
I am so ready for this weekend. This weekend it's going to be fun and long for me. So I hope everybody has a great weekend. Andrew, it was always good talking with you.
It's
We
always
will
great talking to
see.
you.
We will see you guys next week.
We'll see you guys next week.